Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna be ranking all the different items in the Spy vs Spy funny game. Joining me is my good old Spy vs Spyologist, Archie.
Hey guys, it's me. I'm totally smart about this game.
If you want to prove, just watch all my videos and you'll see me being a Alright, so starting off we have the Spy Foo.
The Spy Foo. I would say it's pretty good for if you have no items and no money, but you have to get up like a really close range to get any attack damage done.
Plus, you're most likely going to be using your other weapons anyway, and there's no really reason to use the Spy Foo.
I would say it's a D tier.
Yep, D spot. So now on to the club.
The club, very similar to the Spy Foo, but it's a longer range and does a bit more damage.
Pretty much. It's most helpful on Mansion in the story mode because you'll be mostly smacking the funny enemies. But once you get the slingshot, you basically don't need it anymore. It's a very overclassed weapon once you get a ranged weapon. It's a lot better than the Spy Foo, so I'd say a C tier Lex for the
C tier. Now it's the chainsaw.
Now the chainsaw, the best of the melee weapons. Like with the club and the Spy Foo, it gets outclassed by the ranged weapons because you'll mostly be attacking from a distance. You don't really get to use them up close unless you manage to corner the enemies. The durability on the chainsaw is also pretty low. Like, you don't really get a lot of uses out of it, unlike the club, which has infinite.
Yeah, in my opinion, one of the best ways to use the chainsaw is to hide around a corner and just wait for someone to come around and quickly equip it and attack them.
It's a pretty efficient weapon at, like, scaring them, essentially.
Yeah.
So, a B tier is, I think, a good spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Now the bomb.
The bomb.
I'm not gonna
Useless.
lie. I don't really like it.
Me neither. It's very dumb because when you throw it, it bounces around everywhere, and people can easily just dodge it.
Yeah, you don't really get to. Yeah, you can't really throw them directly at the enemies. They always manage to avoid it some way, somehow.
Yeah, and only good way of using it is in a tight space where there's nowhere to escape. And that's really it.
Yeah. Also, you can hold down the attack button and it can start the countdown while it's in your hand. So it could be efficient if you're using that method. But still, it's not even a widely popular method, so I'd say a D.
Yeah, it deserves a D tier.
Next we have the Suicide Monkey. The Suicide Monkey is a pretty good one.
It is. A good way of using it is from high ground or around corners again, since they will easily damage a player and they do a lot of damage, and dropping them from above can scare someone and they'll get distracted.
It's also pretty good in conjunction with the ice gun because you can use that to slow down the enemies. And then you could spam the monkeys and they can't escape and they blow up. It is easily destroyed just by shooting at it.
Yeah, with pretty much any type
plus
of
the
gun.
bananas also attract it because, well, monkeys love bananas.
So I would say a B tier. B tier.
Yeah, a B Wex. Now onto the slingshot, the most overpowered weapon.
In the whole game.
Yeah, we're just gonna be really brief on this one. It goes in S.
Yeah, it goes in S. You can spam it. It has no reload. It does a lot of damage in close range and far range. So,
and it ricochets off the walls. So
yeah, it can easily damage you.
Now onto the machine gun, which honestly I'd say is just a slightly weaker version of the slingshot.
Yeah, it does shoot a bit faster, but it really depends on your range.
Plus, you won't always land the shots of it, and it doesn't do nearly as much damage, but it does make up for that by being automatic, so... I like it a bit more than the chainsaw and the Suicide Monkey, so I guess an A spot works.
Yeah, it does. I say that works.
Alright, now onto the bazooka.
The bazooka.
Ooh, this one is a little funky. It does do a lot of damage, but its accuracy is really wonky.
Yeah, and it's annoying to aim with. You can easily dodge it no matter what. You just have to make sure to see what direction it's coming from.
A good way of using it is like spamming it and trapping someone in the corner where they don't have anywhere else to go.
So what would you say this deserves to go in?
I'd say a B.
Yeah,
it's good, but it does have some notable issues.
Ooh, I've got another busted one.
Ooh, the lightning gun. Probably the most infamous weapon in the online community. So it does do a lot of damage, and it does have a good range, somewhat decent, but it is also pretty broken.
Yeah, it goes through walls. That doesn't help.
Yeah, it's the reason why a lot of people don't really use this weapon, because it's a little bit busted and unfair. The limited durability on it isn't that great either. I'd say a B on this one.
Yeah, it's a B.
Now onto the flamethrower. This one I kind of don't care too much.
Yeah, it's really useful if the enemy's on low health, and it's really good if you sneak up on someone using it. But
Yeah.
overall, it gets outdone by far-range weapons.
And plus it's not that efficient when it comes to full health combat. You can easily get outclassed by like the chainsaw or the machine gun or the lightning gun. So I'd say a C is a good spot for it.
Yeah, me too. I would say that.
Now onto the ice gun, the only weapon that's not in story mode. So unlike
Alright.
the other ones, this one doesn't do damage, but instead it slowly freezes you until you die instantly.
Yeah, it freezes you and then you die. And it's really useful, once again, for sneaking up on people and when they're on low health. And you can use the monkeys with it, slow them down and spam monkeys.
The one major drawback is that you really only get 2 uses out of it to kill people. Like, the durability isn't that great on it.
Yeah, it sinks really fast.
And plus, when using it against someone with a flamethrower, you're more likely to lose because the flamethrower actually does damage. Unless you get lucky with the freeze, that is.
Yeah, like you both die at the same time.
So yeah, I'd say a C.
Yeah, me too.
Now it's the dynamite.
The dynamite. Pretty effective trap.
Yes.
It's good to spam if you're getting chased.
Yeah, it's one of the stronger ones, but it does require you to activate it on yourself, which could be a little bit annoying.
But its benefits are it's really good if you are in a tight area or to hide behind walls.
So
So yeah.
I'd say a C.
Proximity mine. Pretty similar, but it does a bit less damage and it activates by itself.
It's alright. It does cost a little slightly more than the regular dynamite, but it does make up for that it automatically blows up when you get near it.
Yeah.
So I'd say a B. Like, even if you
Yeah,
have all
B.
4 of them together, they can still kill you easily. So.
Yeah.
Now onto the trip mine. Probably the most useless of mines, if I'm gonna be honest. I never really use it.
True. I've really never used it before. The only time I did is when I was like 7.
Yeah, it's like out of all the other traps, this one is the most kind of boring. And plus, it's one you can easily spot because its main gimmick is that it shoots out a laser that's triggered when you touch it, and it really only does some damage if you're like really close to the actual mines. If you're like far away, then it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much if you're far away.
Yeah, so honestly, I put it at a D.
Yeah, me too.
Now onto the
Now
time
it's
bomb.
time for the time bomb. Only in
And-
classic mode exclusive.
So this one, it's alright. It's the one that it doesn't require you to place it in a safe. You just place it inside the room, and it kills anyone that's inside of a room.
Yeah, but like people rarely use it, so like I don't really know where to put this one, to be honest.
It is the most efficient one to place down, unlike the other traps, because they take time, because you have to put them in a safe. I guess besides the acid bucket, but it exists, so I'll give it a C.
Yeah, give it a C. The
Now
banana
onto
peel.
banana.
Instant
Banana
F.
peel. Yeah, it's really useless. Its main gimmick of attracting the monkeys is rarely ever utilized. You only learn about it once in Kooky Carnival in story mode, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do any damage, it just slows the enemies down, and I don't know, it's just pretty useless.
It is, yeah. And they're really
Honestly-
easy to spot because they glow like a bright yellow.
And honestly, the same could be said of a bear trap. Like, it makes up for it slightly more because it does damage.
But it's pretty much the same thing because it's like a light grey.
Yeah, it may be harder to spot this one, depending on the surface.
And like your screen's like brightness or resolution. Yeah, they will.
I don't know, this one's still not that great. Now on to the fire mine. The fire mine's another one that activates by itself.
Yep.
And, you know, it does do some damage. However, it's most effective when you place it on walls. If you place it on the floor, then it's not that great because it doesn't have a large width.
Yeah, it's really easy to jump over, and it's really easy to spot as well because it's a lot bigger than the other mines.
I'd say probably a B.
Now we got the most OP mine out of them all.
Electro mine. It's the most powerful one and the most expensive one.
It does a lot of damage, has a pretty decently far range.
Just like all the other
it-
mines, you can just shoot it easily and it destroys it, which is why
Yeah,
it's
but-
not S. Alright, now onto the counters. Starting with the Knight's Helmet.
I feel like
Another
this
really
should be
good-
an instant S, to be
Yeah,
honest.
Yeah,
It gives you a lot of health, and it's really OP at times, especially in fights where someone has barely any money.
it's a pretty good item, and it's pretty overused if you just watch any gameplay.
And it's really useful if you're running away and you have to fall down from somewhere.
Yeah, it's a
So it just takes the health from that instead of yours.
pretty much just a good set of armor. Now onto the fairy. This one is
Fairy.
kind of useless.
It's
like,
pretty much only used for if you're not the greatest at the puzzles or whatever they're called.
the most you'd ever use it on is the sliding
Yeah, the
obstacle in
slide
Space
and the
Station.
fans in Volcano Lair, if you're not that great at them.
Yeah, so I'd say just put it in F. It's not that great.
Yeah.
Now the decoy.
Holograms, they can be useful if you're like running away from someone and a trap's activated.
And plus, you can also collect any powers or armor that are on the traps. So
Yeah.
I'd probably say a C. Like it's
Yeah,
not,
C
it's not
tier.
bad.
The wrench, I feel like it should be a D tier since you barely use it. Since people like, it's a rare sight when you'll see like a fist in a safe. The only time
Yeah.
it's really used is in Kooky Carnival story mode and like probably a few more.
Yeah, it's alright. It just exists, but it's not one you'd commonly use. Now onto the pliers from classic mode.
Yeah, it's pretty much the wrench just reskinned exclusively for classic mode.
Compared to the wrench, it has a slow animation for removing the trap and also getting the pliers as well. So I'd say a D.
Yeah, D.
Now onto the fire extinguisher. This one I'd say is an F, mostly because no one really uses the flambe too much. It's always the boxing
people don't
glove.
really use it. It's either
And plus-
boxing glove, yeah.
And plus it's the slowest one in terms of the animation. And onto the umbrella, which this one I'd say is a C, because this one
It's the
has
most
the quickest
useful.
animation.
Yeah, it's the most useful since the strategy is putting an acid bucket on a roof when running away.
Now
These
onto the
people could be sneaky
traps.
with
The traps can be a little bit hard to rank because they're
them.
practically
They're all
all
pretty
the
much
same.
Yeah.
They just have different death animations that take different amount of time.
So I would say for the the gorilla hand, I feel like it deserves a B because it's basically the punching bag fist, whatever the hell, I don't know. It's pretty much that but faster.
I'd probably say a C because you don't really use them too much. Like in any
Yeah,
local
yeah.
games, you never really see the AI going for the obstacle courses unless they have the key. So you never
Yeah.
really have too much of a reason to use these outside of, I guess, online.
Yeah, true.
Now onto the boxing glove, which honestly I could say the same.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much exactly the same as the gorilla hand. And for the mouth, I'm just gonna put it in D because this one has the quickest death animation. So, and the shocker, which this one I think has at least the slowest one, but it's not that slow. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. They're literally just the same. And then the flambe, I guess, can go into B. It exists. It's definitely a trap.
Now it's the acid bucket.
Alright.
Very useful for mostly classic mode.
I'd say probably a B.
Yeah.
It's especially good for any maps that have doors like Space Station, Haunted House, and all that.
Mention it from time to time, but nah.
And the anvil, this one has the slowest death animation, which does make it a little bit better than the acid bucket and the doorknob. I'd say an A.
Yeah, me too.
Now
Doorknob,
the doorknob.
barely used.
Yeah, no one really uses it. I guess it's a C. It's fine, but it exists. Now onto the secret items for modern mode.
The disguise. It's useful, but at the same time it doesn't really do much. It just lets you walk into the enemy's bases, and that's really it. So
Yeah,
I would say it's a B.
Yeah, it's a B. It's really only useful if you actually have bases. If you have run and gun turned on, it's pointless. Plus, there's not too many scenarios where you'd want to willingly go into an enemy's base. The Bucks bag.
The Bucks bag. It's okay. It just gives you a bit more money, and it makes it so when you're selling items, I believe they go back to their original price.
Correct. It's probably the most useful out of all the secret items, in my opinion. It's one that's constantly active during the play. So
Non-stop.
I'd say an A. Now on to the key. This one, it's initially good at the beginning as you're like your first secret item, or like if you
But if it's
lost
your
an
last-
item, then it's
Oh,
not really that
useless.
useful. Like once you have all the items collected, it's pretty much just pointless.
Yeah, it's pretty much useless if you know, yeah.
Like it really just serves one purpose, and that's it.
Yeah.
So let's see. And on to the gadget, which honestly I could say is a B. It's a little more useful than the key because it allows you to highlight any trap doors or safes.
Yeah.
But again, you don't really use the traps too much if you're playing locally. So like,
True.
It's a fine item, but it's not that useful.
Yeah, it's okay, I guess.
Anyways, that is the tier list.
That's a funny item tier list.
I'd say we are satisfied with how we rank these.
Yeah, I will say so. I feel like they deserve where they are.
But hey, if you feel like we rank these times too high or too low, you can rank them yourself. I may leave a link down below for this tier list if you want to try this out.
So you guys can find me on my funny YouTube channel, Archie Animations. I'm getting back into more animating now, so I'll upload more frequently. And the stinky website Twitter.
Dude, get Blue Sky, get Blue Sky. Oh, I'll hypnotize you to get you Blue Sky.
Alright, fine, I'll do it right now.
We're gonna have this whole recording session of you just getting a Blue Sky account.
Flint and steel.
Ender Pearl.
Chicken jockey.
This is a crafting table. Here's how it works. You place these elements and swoosh!